Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Upper left hand corner, we got Firetip starting as the teal or green Protoss, if you prefer. I'm gonna say quite a fetching color for Protoss. Bottom right hand corner, we've got Pierozan starting as the. Wonder what this is in Polish, or if it's something different. I'm gonna feel bad if actually it was completely different pronunciation. I will say though, Polish. How do you pronounce anything? I've got a very good friend who goes by Przemysław. Shimmick is what we used to call him in short, and his name was spelled P-R-Z-E-M-E-K. That was Przemysław somehow. I'm like, what the hell? He would, in high school, he'd just wait for the substitute teacher or the initial teacher to look super confused, at which point he would just raise his hand and be like, yeah, that's me. Just call me Shem or whatever. That dude's awesome, by the way. If you ever run into a Przemysław, you can be like, hey, was this awesome guy talking about you? He said you're awesome. Well, I know this is the case because I know you're awesome. And he'll be like, yep, I know that dude. He's awesome. And then there'll be some high five through space and time and the internet, and who knows. Anyway, Moltrap also knows this guy as a side note. Good dude. Firetip opening up with a gateway first. He's going to be at cross position, which is going to, and interestingly enough, an in-base gateway first. So I will be interested to see if this turns into one base play from Firetip to try to mess with Pierozan. It's also possible that he forgot he was going up against a Zerg player. I don't think that's the case. I think this is going to be a 2-gate. And unfortunately, yeah, 2-gate. Unfortunately for him, it is 2-gate cross position. Fortunately for him, though, it is a 12th hatch, which usually 2-gate performs pretty well against. Let's see if he gets a fast enough scout. With the 2-gate, you're flooding a lot of zealots very, very quickly. If you can overwhelm the Zerglings, the more Zerglings you can kill early on, the better it is. Opposite end, if you're Pierozan, you really need to drop. I think dropping a sunken colony is really key. A lot of Zerg will absolutely refuse to do it. By the way, he's scouting upper left-hand corner, Overlord making its way out. It looks like the probe's going to make its way across. It's going to love seeing that hatchery in that late gestation state. First zealot on the map. Is going to be a little bit disappointed to be going catty corner though, and that is going to give time for Pierozan to potentially, first of all, get that spawning pool up, but also prep some larvae to get a large number of Zerglings out as quickly as possible. That probe should hang out to provide a bit of firepower, and the drone in enemy lines sees the gateway constructing. Are probes coming? We got two boys that pulled, I guess, two gender neutrals. I'm not sure what to call probes. I guess I should call drones. I was actually asking this earlier. Shouldn't it be over ladies? Because I'm pretty sure everything Zerg like ants is women, right? Despite the odd voices of the Cerebrits. Double creep colony drop from Pierozan. Let's see if that'll be sufficient. The drone trying to blockade along the way. This probe seeing the construction and the Zerglings coming off the line. Now, the difficulty of the positioning of this is the Zerglings do need to hold, probe gone, the Zerglings do need to hold this area to make sure the Zealots don't just march all the way into the main. Otherwise, this will all be for naught. Probes making the way across. You can see the Zerglings blockading. And now Firetip has to sit and watch and has taken some economic damage already. The Zerglings running out. Wow. Pierozan gonna go for a counterattack. That's brave. Maybe wants to get some eyes just to see one that can help deny the natural expansion, but also can help see whether Zealots are being paused, because one of the difficulties for Zerg in this position is knowing when to start investing in economy and knowing when your opponent is going to be over-investing the other direction. You can see he's holding a probe nearby just in case. And the Zealot, is he going to get back to the ramp in time? He's back to the ramp in time. I don't know that he can hold it though. Yeah. And as a result, the cybernetics score is going to be spotted, and Pierozan knows that he needs to go ahead and get gas of his own. Might get some economic disruption of his own in the midst of this. Has already gotten a single probe. Is still down significant amount of workers. Is dropping a third hatchery. Does need to get that gas up in line, so we can go ahead and get some Hydralists just in case a Stargate gets dropped to try to deal with this. But Pierozan in a pretty comfortable position now. No natural. 2-base Zerg does outscale 1-base Protoss. Eventually. The probe's going to go ahead, and keep in mind 3 probes are off the line, so Pierozan's actually was ahead economically overall. I love the placement of this hatchery from Pierozan. If you've ever seen Samurai 7, the anime, it's like, I'm enamored by your skill. There's kind of a line in there. Seven Samurai, also brilliant, as a side note, but there's the specific line that I'm reminded of right this second and felt like just spitting out there for some reason. Anyway, Zerglings will have a easier time defending this natural because of that hatchery placement. Citadel of Adun dropping as the Zergling drops. So wanting to go maybe, okay, possibly this is turning into DT play, but DT versus, especially with what should be some Hydralisk, yeah, Hydralisk Den dropping. Not super likely, so I think instead this is going to be +1, yeah. Zealot leg speed, no Forge as of yet though. I was expecting a Forge, there's the Forge. +1 3-gate Zealot leg speed to try to crash against this. In the meantime, a second Extractor has been dropped. If we have a Tech Delayer and some Lurker on top of this, the Lurker Hydralisk combination across two bases should sufficiently stamp out a lot that Firetip would be able to throw out here. We do have a Templar Archives planting as well. So are we going to see Sidestorm on top of this? Firetip cautiously making his way down with 6 Zealots in a Vanguard. 7 Zealots. And it's the 7th and 8th Zealot checking out the 3 o'clock and additional locations, Evolution Chamber dropping as well. Pierozan really kind of covering all his bases. Supply counts are looking even. Drone count equal to worker count and across two bases is usually bad news for Protoss. And Firetip is in fact going to go ahead and drop his natural expansion in the space of this. What he could do is get a DT or two, and it is going to be a minute before, and I think Pierozan trying to recognize the play, where if Dark Templar do end up on the front, it would be easier to defend. Potentially. We do have a High Templar being built instead. +1 weapons on the Evolution Chamber. No third base as of yet, but Zealot leg speed is complete. A Zergling has died on the front. But also Hydralisk range being upgraded and 2 Zealots camping out in front, just waiting for Pierozan to make his way out. Looks like the layer about 2/3 finished. Now, unfortunately, when Firetip has this natural expansion up and running, even though that equalizes the economy a bit, he's still going to be behind in the overall worker count. And these 2 Zealots, and if this, careful Overlord, and if the Vanguard opts to get aggressive, I don't think it's going to be sufficient. I think all 3 Overlords were, or sorry, all 3 cannons were spotted by that Overlord before it forfeits its life. So that's something. Zealot, in the meantime, is going to get out with just a sneeze left. Man, he could sit down and die accidentally. Needs to be very, very careful with his health at this stage. Pierozan moving up. He could probably double expand, actually. I'm not sure that he's going to feel brave enough to do so. And I'm going to guess he's going to go directly into Lurker Tech rather than going for... I don't think he upgraded Hydralisk speed. So I'm waiting for the tick to Lurker Tech, potentially. There's the additional hatchery at the 3 o'clock and fanning out either for a full-on onslaught or a defensive splot. It looks like dropping the Spire instead of upgrading Lurker aspect and waiting for Overlord speed in the window as well. 3 gateways of production, 4 cannons on the front, and a slew of Zerg on the outside. I don't think these 4 cannons would get breached, particularly with the Zealot leg speed support. We do have a single Zealot, that same Zealot. He's managed to regenerate some shields, so if he trips, he won't die. An additional hatchery plopping down, so this is going to bring the count up to 5. And it looks like it's just going to be mid-game Hydralisk, maybe a transition to Mutalisk down the line. But Firetip in dire economic straits. His natural expansion's up. He's still running off 3 gateways. Did he upgrade? He does have +1 weapons finished. If he was going to make a move, I feel like this is his moment as he's got Sidestorm complete. Pierozan in the meantime just kind of patrolling, it looks like, out here on the front. Dropping a 6th hatchery at the 3 o'clock location. Firetip gonna redraw that Zealot back around. He has skipped Corsair altogether, plopping down 3 additional gateways. This does open up an opportunity as a Spire is complete to see a tech switch, and I am actually somewhat surprised that Pierozan hasn't gone for that, given that he's got a good a good supply. This poor Zealot. Okay, if he dives in and gets a drone kill, that will be impressive, because the drones could just turn an attack. He gets a drone kill. Incredible. At his age, with his health. Well done, Zealot. Well done. An inspiration to us all. Lurkers currently on the way. A bunch of Zealots and High Templar moving out right this second. Let's see where they dive, because there's a lot of larva on the ground and a lot of bank to work with here from Pierozan. He's going to move up into this. Could catch a High Templar. It looks like the High Templar is going to walk into that army, wanting to get a Side Storm off. A decent dodge here from Pierozan. And the Zealots moving their way across. Pierozan right this second, he's moving up to the high ground, but he has actually queued up some additional units to deal with this incoming attack. Behind this wall, a good Side Storm on that edge could be effective. More Hydralisks making their way forward. We have 5 Lurkers morphing on the high ground at the 3 o'clock. And the Hydralisk just kind of walking in very casually and wiping out the High Templar. That was quite something. A few Dragoons going to fill in the ranks so they can attack at range. 2 more High Templar joining the fray as well. No Mutalisks still, so it's just going to be Hydralisks. This is a very Psystormable. There needs to be a word for that that's not just Psystormable. I do like Firetip expanding in the midst of this, by the way. Pierozan may be playing a little bit too passive in the space. This is a great play from Firetip, actually. Rather than committing troops and losing anything, just kind of keeping that threat nearby to force some units out and be kind of a present threat while establishing that 12 o'clock, getting some cannons down. The chef's kiss would be to draw back right now before there's an engagement and it gets overwhelmed. Got 1 Side Storm. Some Zealots engaging from the rear. Do we have additional Side Storm? That's a good bunch up of Lurkers there. That could have, that was a, you're not going to get a better Side Storm opportunity than this. And unfortunately, a full energy High Templar drops. And another pushback. Pierozan's going to hold. He's got the supply lead. He's got the overall worker lead. He's going to drop a 4th hatchery top right. We do have a probe near there to potentially scout that. But the 12 o'clock base is coming online for Firetip. He's been able to fill in his worker count fairly effectively given earlier slowdowns. Not sure what I want to say there. Scourge patrolling just in case there was a drop. And we do have a tech to hive. Look at that. Cute, Firetip, cute. Cancel that pylon, please. Cancel it. Loses it instead, I think. Ah, maybe he got the minerals back. It's hard to tell. I think he did cancel it, because usually when it dies, you get the little clutter on the ground. And I do think there was the 75 minerals that returned. Also another base getting grabbed top right. Firetip moving up immediately to try to counter this. I don't think he has enough Side Storm, however, to punch through this. So the better part of Valor might be to draw back and try to grab that 9 o'clock. While he's presenting a bit of kind of dance this army, threaten it. Grab the 9 o'clock. The Overlord is near there, however. Firetip in a very precarious situation here, and Pierozan not giving him a lot of breathing room. Continues to macro up, applying passive pressure, continuing to keep the supply lead. How many the High Templar for Firetip have been getting picked off left and right, however. Was that without +2? Sorry, +2 weapons has completed. High Tech is now complete. We do have an Observer here, but the High Templar a little bit out of position to get some good Side Storm on top of both the Lurkers and the Hydralisk. Looks like one of them gonna get picked off again. Firetip having trouble managing his army. The Zealots diving headlong into the Lurker line and subsequently forfeiting their lives quite rapidly. The Dragoons able to get on top of this. They do have +1 weapons, +1 armor. The High Templar now being engaged from behind, and that should be it for the Dragoon army. Now the problem for Firetip is that his army has been expended. He was not able to wipe out a hatchery. He's not providing much of a delay, and that 12 o'clock is going to be hard to hold. Plus, you have High Tech, a Defiler Mound, multiple Evolution Chambers firing off. Ventral Sacks also on the way to get some drops. Pyrogen holding off right this second, attacking towards the 12 o'clock. He can wait for consume. This is cute from Firetip, trying to build a proxy gateway at the 6 o'clock. Also simultaneously going to maybe slow down. Never mind, going to cancel at least that. Is going to let the gateway finish? He's going to let the gateway finish. That's not going to last super long. I think he's trying to create distractions. Never mind, cancel it. Wants to create distractions out on the map to keep Pyrogen occupied while he tries to build his supply. He's down a significant amount of supply right this second. He does have a probe here bottom left, but he's at a standoff with a Zergling in no man's land. In the majority of the map now in Pyrogen's hands. So maybe a Reaver, a bunch of High Templar. But honestly, I think what is ultimately going to happen is his consume is on the way. As soon as consume is finished, we're going to see a group of Lurkers, a group of Zerglings scramble up to the 12 o'clock and wipe that out. Pyrogen playing this very cautiously, by the way. Dropping some creep colonies top right, so he doesn't have to worry about alongside these Lurkers. Is he going to turn that into a Spore? That would be the chef's kiss. A bunch of Lurkers plopping down between the natural expansion and the third to cut off reinforcements, or at least make troop movement all the more difficult. And where's the Defiler? Is he going to go for a drop? He could go for a drop as well. 6 o'clock base is up, but not yet saturated. We have some drones remaining idle here at the 3 o'clock, but top right is starting to fill out nicely for Pyrogen. In the meantime, a flood of Overlords being built to break that supply block. One Defiler just kind of chilling back here. I'm a little bit shocked to see. I think it's just Pyrogen has so much he can spend his money on that he's a little bit distracted as far as where he wants to send things. In the meantime, Azur are moving in, and one of them getting picked up. The second one gets picked off, but a little bit of a dent in the meantime. Unfortunately, no detection, so Firetip is going to have to do a full withdraw away from the third. And do we have the Defiler? We do have the Defiler amidst this attack grouping. Not a lot of Zerglings, however. Still a good amount of healthy Lurkers out on the field. Only one of them in a similar situation to that Zealot earlier in the match. We'll see if it has a similar, more beneficial fate. That Defiler, very exposed, dodges a Psystorm. Able to drop a Dark Swarm, which will not help against the Zealots, but will help against the Dragoons. Also won't help against the additional Psystorm. That's going to force a massive cancellation. Not cancellation. What do I want to call that? The eggs getting smushed. Scramble? Zerg scramble? In the meantime, Firetip pushed back. The Defiler going to consume. Is he going to consume the Zerglings? Actually, I feel like he wants to keep the Zerglings in this instance. Because he keeps the Zerglings, he can Dark Swarm up here and send the Zerglings in. He doesn't really need the Hydralisks. The Hydralisks won't do a lot for him in this instance. Firetip trying to sneak through and re-engage before the Lurkers are ready. Able to at least surprise the Lurkers a bit. Some good Psystorm on top of that as well. So difficult engaging Zealots against highly upgraded Lurkers. But that does disrupt the Defiler, and that will protect against the Dragoons. Pyrogen, honestly, so he's got a huge bank, he's got all these resources, but the supply count is not showing it. He's finally got Adrenal upgrade on those Zerglings. I kind of wonder what's going on with the dilly-dallying here. He is refilling supply pretty rapidly, but Firetip making a game of it by constantly battering the attack force that is threatening multiple locations. The problem is in the long term, Firetip is still in a situation where he ends up mining out. I will say the Psystorm of just a massive amount of Lurkers there was very, very helpful. And is he going to get it again? More Zerg scramble. This time one Lurker finishes, and that's huge resource losses for Pyrogen trying to scramble out with that Defiler. Firetip survives and maintains even supply in the late game. Still waiting on the final upgrades for armor, but otherwise not in a terrible position as far as just raw army goes. He is in a terrible position as far as macro is concerned. 6 o'clock base hasn't even gotten rolling yet, and it looks like bottom left will shortly be in Pierosan's hands. Pierozan at risk top right, and Firetip might be able to clear this out. There's a large counterattack grouping up. If it goes to the 12 o'clock, that could be it. Firetip recognizing that threat, drawing back to engage it. Firetip's playing this quite well, keeping Pierozan on his toes, and somehow threatening and defending this 12 o'clock. Critically, though, he's not grabbed the 9. And it's only been High Templar, no Reavers as of yet. I don't know that he can afford Reavers right this stage. Zealot's getting trailed away from that army, resulting in a somewhat suboptimal trade. Investing heavily in Observers just in case here. Another Ninja Gateway in the bottom left. And Firetip's still running on, honestly, 50 workers, and this is a pretty sizable army for that across what is now one base, as the natural expansion just about expended. Firetip opting not to try to attack uphill here. Might redraw to the 6 o'clock, that is quite open. Is finally grabbing the 9. And is doing another great job screening across mid-map. He's catching a lot of these armies before they're positioned. And Pierozan still hasn't sent out a task force of Zerglings and Defilers to the 12 to shut that down. If he had done that at any stage, that would have been game. Some Zerglings are folding out to go to the 9 o'clock, but there's Zealots and High Templar are waiting. And now the natural expansion suddenly at threat. We still don't have Plague, by the way. Or at least I haven't seen a Plague launch. The Zealot's going to be able to clean these Zerglings up. And the High Templar not even needing to expend Psystorm there. Firetip going to draw. He's doing some great army control here. This is not easy to do. Overlord's going for a drop at the 12 o'clock underneath. Lurker is able to get on top of the probes. This is really going to help Firetip's economy. This is, again, the heavier mining of the bases. But repelled that very successfully, and now he's got a scathing army near the natural. His 9 o'clock is up. He can start producing out of this gateway bottom left to maybe clear some stuff out in short order. Pierozan is near 200 supply, though, with a very upgraded army. Lots of Defilers. Just started upgrading Plague. So time is not in on Firetip's side, I do not believe, but his army movement and his ability on it, it's almost like a force field here of units that he keeps moving across the map at really excellent times. Drone scrambling up top left to go ahead and grab that base. That being said, it's unusual, but oftentimes 4-base Protoss can beat Zerg that's taken the rest of the map just through sheer attrition and bad trades. Bad trades on the Zerg's part, I need to emphasize. Dark Templar being constructed. Do we have an Overlord? We have no Overlord here bottom left. And great timing. We have an Overlord nearby, however. Firetip drawing the army back to mid-map. Defiler's kind of scrambling out around. We do have a Nidus Canal. Where is that linking? It looks like that should be... Where is that linking? Is that just from the main? Maybe it has not yet been dropped. We've got a Nidus Canal here, but I don't see its exit point anywhere on the map as of yet. Could be I'm just blind. But I don't think it's been planted. I think he maybe wants to plant it bottom left. Meantime, this Dark Templar getting 9 kills. This Dark Templar just starting out. It's going to go to try to take out this hatchery. We have 1 Hydralisk and 2 Lurkers. So getting something out of that. And we have Pierozan's getting nothing out of this 6 o'clock. By the way, Firetip does have an opportunity to attack that. We have Plague drop mid-map. The Lurker does clean up the Dark Templar. We still have another Dark Templar going to make its way out. Firetip pushing in now towards the natural expansion, getting some great Psystorms. Just blanketing the units. Dark Swarm does not matter if there's lightning in the sky. For some reason, I feel like singing that Reading Rainbow to Lightning in the Sky instead of Lightning in the Sky, so on and so forth. Firetip expended a lot of troops in that exchange, but was able to whittle down Pyrogene's army quite a lot. Needs to draw back immediately, however. In the meantime, a counter drop, this time with the Filers at the 12 o'clock. And Firetip being forced to sidestorm his own lines to try to defend. And is not going to have sufficient storm to clear out the lurkers, which means this is likely a dead Nexus. The 9 o'clock is still running for him. But things are looking grim. He's down to 30 probes. And he does not have much of a bank or an army to speak of. In the meantime, Pyrogene, as the rest of the map, the Dark Templar has snuck to the 6 o'clock now that it's killed bottom left. Going to die quickly, and Pyrogene can very rapidly re-grab that. More Dark Templar, however, going to funnel out. This gateway definitely paid for itself. Absolutely. So 12 o'clock's gone. Zerglings are going to stream in, clear the rest of this out. Firetip has another sizable army, making its way out on the map. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that there's any one direction he can attack. It looks like the drone trying to run do-si-doing around there a little bit to clear that up. Firetip can attack bottom left and maybe get that under his control. Lurker's now out of position. Well, we got another lurker here, but making it happen. Few Zerglings streaming across with a Defiler running headlong into the rest of this army. All of that's cleared out. Now, if a probe can get down here, this could be Firetip territory. Not much of a plague. Hit 2 Dragoons here. Not much else. The High Templar look like they're going to escape. They look like they're going to escape. Meantime, everything at the 12 o'clock's been cleared out. Pyrogene can go ahead and grab that. Dark Templar still sitting here. Do we have a probe? Making its way that direction? That would be a big swing. Number of lurkers making their way bottom left. And by a number, that number is 9? 9? All that for Dark Templar. Corsair's now out on the map. So that's going to get picked off. That's going to open up more Dark Templar play. This is a lot of units to potentially lose. Firetip diving into the 12 o'clock is able to clear out the lurkers, and he's going to stop a hatchery there as well. This is almost comedic at this point. I don't know that Pyrogene's hit 200 supply yet, but Firetip is really giving him a run for his money. 6 o'clock still not saturated, by the way, by Pyrogene as of yet. Dark Templar wandering in is regretting that. Looks like they're going to back off. Finally, we have chitinous plating, Ultralisten, 4 drones just hanging around chatting about this war. Going like, this is a crazy one, isn't it? Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't gone back to Char or whatever the homeland is at this point in time. I always view these like meta-wise as like historical battles that happened during the Brood Wars over one point or another. It's kind of like the stuff that didn't make it into the main mission. It's like these are the things that happened. I always thought it would be rather cool if a game developer company had some lore that they would kick in, and then they would actually have like something that happens in one of their championships be like lore specific. Pyrogene actually not mining with a lot of his drones, by the way. Needs to get some of these guys active again, which is part of the reason, even despite holding a lot of territory, he's having trouble. He is grabbing bottom left, by the way. 6 o'clock is, for example, not saturated. This is giving Firetip opportunities. He's re-grabbing that 12 o'clock. Defiler looking in. This could be a massive plague. We've got an Arbiter. This game has it all. Unfortunately, Arbiters at this stage really, really good for recalls, but Plague does in fact reveal cloaked units. Not usually an interaction you see overall. Firetip's still hovering around 120 supply, but I will say his trades have been fantastic towards these latter stages. Regrabbing that 12. Eventually might want to make his way bottom left. There's the recall. And now Pyrogene's in the red. And at very high risk of losing everything top right. Psystorm blanketing the reinforcements. Scourge are going to be able to wipe out the Arbiter. But if everything just focuses that hatchery, I don't think it's going to last very long. The problem, however, is getting these units back out. Also, Psystorm dropping the drone count rapidly. Firetip making it work. Yeah, hatchery gone, and Pyrogene, rather than attacking the 12 o'clock, is continuing to try to attack uphill to deal with the Renegade army, which is potentially going to open up some more Psystorms. Bottom left is somewhat saturated. The drones have evacuated the 3 o'clock. Are they at the 6? They are at the 6 now. And that hatchery getting redropped top right. Firetip being spicy here. Supply is near even, by the way, which is not something I was expecting to say here at the 31-minute mark. Pyrogene having a lot of trouble closing this out. Do we have another Arbiter someplace? We got some Reavers at the very least. This game's had it all. No additional Arbiter that I can see. A massive drop again going to the 12 o'clock. Psystorm dropping as the units are dropping. I don't think this 12 o'clock is going to survive very long. Lurkers are wiped out, but so are the High Templar, and some Zerglings still remain. Firetip evacuating everything. He's now down to 18 workers. Effectively on one base. Zerglings quickly shredding that Nexus, and that was 400 resources that Firetip could ill afford to forfeit. He does clear that out, but Pyrogene has managed to restabilize his supply back towards the 100, or sorry, the 200 mark. In the meantime, Firetip is languishing at 113 supply. Starting to march out on the map, recognizing it is desperation time. Is he going to attack the 6? Might be attacking bottom left. However, Ultralisks have taken the field. And in significant numbers. This is where you really need those Reavers, especially with the upgrade. Reavers right here as soon as I say that, though. And Ultralisk against Dragoon Reaver oftentimes is a way to lose a lot of your resources. So out of the so keep in mind here, okay, Firetip just going to GG here at the end. I do want to say out of 12 Ultralisks, only 2 remain. However, Firetip had no resources left. Pyrogene had additional bases. Pyrogene able to close it out here at the end and move on to the next bracket. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.